So what do you need in order to take trading full time? And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I decided to take, well, I didn't decide, I was more or less forced into taking trading full time a few short years ago as I was doing it as a fun hobby. I did enjoy trading, and at the time, it was closely outweighing, I'm not going to do this, it was closely outweighing what I was making at my other job. Now, let me pull up this real quick. Full time, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, cool. This works. I did send a PDF or a PDF that Dagan made in the chat, so you guys can have bullet points. And then transition, boom. And then you guys can kind of follow along with me and then bring your questions afterwards. So I was working at a construction company and a marina at the time. Really enjoyed my marina job, and then things happened with that job, and I was working full-time construction for a company that was paying me minimum wage. However, I didn't mind the work because I learned so much. I knew I was going to be doing renovations and flips, investing in real estate in the future, and I thought it was very good for me to have the hard work ethic, the physical labor aspect of it, because what it made me do, and my father kind of forced me into it, I'll be honest, because I didn't want to do it. But what it taught me is valuing money. I was trading at the time, and I had days where I made $10,000 more than most people make in several months of working. And he started to notice I didn't value money as much as I should have. So I know it sounds crazy. I was making a decent amount trading. This was in a hot market too, really hot market. Wasn't that good at trading, but you didn't really need to be that good at trading back then to make money. But he's like, I could tell you don't really value money in a hard work ethic. So I learned to value the dollar a lot more when I worked construction, and I really needed to do it at the time to pay the bills I had. And then when I lost that job due to COVID, the company kind of went under, if you will. The projects were halted. I had no other choice. I had nothing else lined up, and that was my opportunity. I felt like God, in my opinion, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, gave me an opportunity to take what I wanted to do full time. So I did it, and this is the things I had at the time to take it full time. I had a computer. I liked video games, so I had a nice desktop with some multiple monitors. So check there. I also had a laptop I could trade when I went away. I had an internet connection. I think it's pretty obvious. I had a group of friends. I think a community of trading is almost necessary. I think we live in such a connected society, yet one of the most disconnected societies, and that makes sense. We have social media to connect with each other. However, on the flip side, we've never lived in a society where we felt so lonely. So I think having a community of traders to talk about things with, like we do, to discuss trading, to understand that, hey, losers like today happen. That might have been one of the biggest losses a lot of you guys have seen me take, at least from a percent gain aspect. Those of you who've been here from November have seen me lose, over 5 figures in a day. But I had a computer. I had, a community of friends at the time. Our Discord was, I believe, 300 members. I think our Discord was. So we had a nice little poppin' team here. And we had a few guys that were more or less full-time traders in here. I also now had time. Number two, I had time to trade. Believe it or not, you need time to analyze the trades, to sit down at your desk, create a watch list. Obviously, we try to alleviate a lot of that time for you guys so you can just hop on and trade with us. But it still takes time to do that. You need to be able to sit at your desk from 9:30 to 10:30. That's why I loved my marina job. I could work really early in the morning and be open and be home, and still trade, or I can work the closing shift and be there really late and trade in the morning. So I really was blessed with that job to be able to, work on my trading skills. Then when I lost it, and then, construction, I didn't have time to trade. I would simply, I guess, hide in the corner, if you will, pretend like I was pitching in a tree, and then I'd go check my stocks, if you will. And that's kind of how I traded for a while. And then from there, when I had more free time to check after hours stuff, to research other traders, I do not think I'm the world's best trader. Newsflash, I'm sorry, I'm not. Eventually, I think I will get up there, but I feel like every year, looking back at how much I make, looking back at the opportunities I had, I think I get better and better every year. And it was no different at that time. In fact, I was much worse of a trader at that time than I am now. And so I was reviewing content from other traders. I think Warrior Trading is a great trader. I think Umar Ashraf, he's an options trader. I think he's good. I think Ricky Gutierrez is a pretty solid guy for basics. However, I'd like to see him go more in depth than he does, but if that's his style, that's his style. I think Warrior Trading is a great guy to kind of go in depth on. And our trading styles are very similar, except for I short, he never shorts. And he does, I trade way less than he does, but good trader. And then obviously you have to be profitable for us to be full time. Now, what do you need to be profitable? In my opinion, you need $30,000, probably minimum. And this is to be profitable enough to pay your bills. This is not, yes, with $10, can you be profitable? Absolutely. But the reason I put the $30,000 stamp on there is because you need to have a buffer. A lot of you guys who are, close to the PDT level, floating above and below it, I've been there, need to have 30. You understand that you need to have a little bit of cushion to be able to risk something. If you're right at 25K, if you lose one trade, you're back down. But if you're at 30K, you know, a $5,000 buffer to risk. And if you can't risk anything, you're not going to reward anything. So a lot of traders that get frustrated with me, and I tell them, if you have 25K, you need to size down immensely, build that buffer. It might take you, a month or two to make 1 or 2 or 3,000, but once you start building a buffer, you can afford to risk more. Unfortunately, I didn't learn that lesson. That's why I'm doing this 25K challenge with you guys. I'm waiting to get it to about 25K. It's at like 24/7 right now. It's at 25.6, but I think I took $1,000 loss in it. I started this account with like 16K in it. It was a blown account. And then I'm trading it up to 25K, and I'm doing a challenge of 25K to 100K to show you guys what steps are needed to kind of get to that point. So having a buffer, being above the PDT threshold, and then having that much money, I believe, is enough to start being able to, pull some out. I had around 30K in my bills. My wife and I, she's my fiance at the time, she didn't work. I did start my real estate portfolio, but it was not, basically all I did was cover, rent. I was living at my parents' at the time. I was forced to move back in after I got kicked out of my apartment, and I didn't have many bills, but I still had, I still had to do stuff. So about $2,000, I felt if I made $2,000 and then some, I could take $2,000 out of it, pay my bills, and the other two, ever excess money I would save for taxes and growing my account. And that's exactly what I did for about a year. So my account went from about 25 to 30K to about 45 to 50K in about a year, because I took about 20 to 25,000 out of it because I did it full time for about a year. And so that was what I learned in that experience was number 4. You need cash flow, man. You need to get your cash flow game strong. And that's why it's so important, and that's why we're really going to be diving deep. Corey and I and Noah are building the real estate course with professionals alongside myself. I don't consider myself a professional real estate investor. I don't think I've done enough deals. However, I do know the ins and outs of it. I do own several properties. Actually, we're closing on another property. It was supposed to be today, but now it moved to Wednesday. So we're going to be giving you guys a walkthrough on that property. And a lot of it, the course will be built around that property. What we are trying to do is we're trying to help you guys build cash flow. The reason I say this is because you have so much excess time from trading, you need to spend it making more money. As for the first year or two in order to take this full time. And you're like, Jason, I thought you said trading full time and full time only. I'm helping you get to that point. But assuming most of you guys aren't at that point yet. And what helped me, and the reason why cash flow was great, is because the year I didn't have any cash flow and all the money I made was from trading was extremely stressful in my life. I did not want that for anybody. Trading wasn't worth it. Put it that way. There's so much stress that trading actually was even worth it. Because it's like, I pay my bills based on how I perform. So if I had a bum month, if I had a bum day like I did today, I couldn't pay my bills. It wasn't, thank God I didn't have a lot of bills, I didn't have a lot of debt, but I still had them. I still had to pay them at a reasonable time. It wasn't old enough to take a loan out or anything like that. And so by having cash flow, and ways you can build cash flow is having a side gig with your friends or with yourself. My Haltman, who is a full-time day trader who makes several thousand a year trading, also has a mobile detailing company. He has cash flow. He just got done trading today, and I was talking to him this morning. He's got a client that he's going to go make $300-400 on the day, detailing car or boat or whatever he has. So right there, automatically, he has another business that he's generating cash flow, and he just became a full-time trader about a year ago. So by next year, if he's got he's got 100,000 or 200,000, he could then maybe drop that business or sell it, and then he can do it full time. The reason why I think cash flow is so great is because when you're a beginner trader, the last thing you want is unneeded stress. I think a great way to have unneeded stress is simply to not have anything coming in to pay your bills, just trading. And that's why I stress so much about it. That's why I built my real estate portfolio. That's why I did a lot of angel investments with other companies and friends to be able to pay my bills. And now that I trade with enough money, I have enough money stashed away where, say I have a red month, say, hypothetically I lose 17, 18,000 this month in the next 5 days, and I have a red month, I still have enough money to pay my bills because I've been trading for a while. I have a lot of other investments. So now it's perfectly fine. However, the first year, I recommend you guys having whatever it may be. I know Gennaro's in here. He's got a landscaping company that helps pay his bills. I know Cascade does. He's got a window cleaning company. He's got tons of great side hustles. So I think it's important to have that. Real estate, I think, is a great way and a professional way to build that. I think a full-time job is good, but there's capped. But then you now no longer have 2 trading time. So you have to figure out something where you can make a lot of money that's very scalable, that doesn't take a lot of time. And doing some sort of a service like that, you can charge a premium. We can help you guys set up those businesses if you need. You can be there for a short amount of time, work really hard, 2-3 hours, and you're having cash flow coming in. Meanwhile, building your real estate portfolio, so you don't have to do that for several years. Those are the 4 things I recommend having to take trading full time. I would not recommend, if you need to have a full-time job, then do it. However, it's really hard to transition from profitably trading full-time from a full-time job that doesn't leave room for many other things. So I'd figure out ways you can substitute that. And for me, it was real estate. I was able to build a decent enough portfolio, was able to take lines of credit out and have enough money in my bank account for a year or 2 to pay my bills. And then I could kind of just take trading full-time, and that's exactly what I did. That's how I got to where I am. So those are 4 things. I think some of them might have shocked you. Do you guys have any questions on what is needed, how I got to where I was at, any setup costs? My setup runs around $5,000, but that's obviously because I do this full time and not needed. You guys can. When I first started trading, it's kind of a joke. Last year, I took some profit out of Bitcoin. I made about 5,000 to 10,000 profit on Bitcoin. I took it out to buy a new computer, and I wouldn't have done that. My friends forced me. I built this computer in middle school or high school that I traded with. It took half an hour to boot up. Dagan remembers. It would be like 8:30, and I'd just catch market open. but you don't need a super expensive computer. Obviously, I have all the gadgets and gizmos because I do this, full time, and I've been doing it for a while. But a computer with generally high speed internet would be great. A laptop's a little bit harder. You only have one monitor. I recommend having a few extra monitors to be able to do this full time. And one thing I like is I like having OBS, something to record my trades and then stash them away and be able to rewatch them within a few months to see how I've improved, to motivate myself, and to also analyze and say, what did I do good and what did I do poorly? I look back at trading highlights of a few years ago on my birthday. I like to have a face cam so I could see the emotion in my face being in that trade, but more importantly, how I performed, where I sold, where I locked in profits. And honestly, I laughed. I cringed more importantly, because in my opinion, it was so bad. And honestly, I think in about 5 years, I think it'll probably be the same thing, maybe even 2 years. That's why I like having OBS to record my lessons and to record my trades. But I just spieled for about 17 minutes and 30 seconds, team. What questions do you have for me? Now is your time. You can put them in premium chat. You can raise your hand and I can bring you up to stage and you can ask me. What do you guys got for me? Anything you want me to go in depth on? Maybe it's not even about taking trading full time. Now is your time to bring your questions. And also, don't feel like it's a dumb question. No dumb questions here. Cost just got halted going up on a deal with Apple. I made like $15,000 on costs in like 30 seconds about a year ago in my bed on my phone. I might want to trade this. 11.54. Oh my God, I'm trading this, team. Yep, I'll be trading this. What age did I start my construction job? Good question. I started at so my uncle had a construction company, and he always needed like extra work and extra hands. So 12 or 13 is when I started, and I did some stuff. We were building big projects, like a dentist office was one. So I got to work from the ground up, and then I worked for this other company that did more like apartment turnovers. And then I quit to work in landscaping, and then I worked at a marina, and then I really started working construction around 16. So here's the thing, Tomcat, and I want to make sure I catch, when is this? It's going to resume about 20 seconds. I'm going to be trading this one, by the way, guys. Just a moment. Check resumption. Okay. Phase is also gapping up. My goodness. I might have to jump back in the PC team trading chat. That's the problem. As you get older, and you have more dependents, and you have a lot more bills. You have mortgages and things of that nature. It instantly becomes harder. And you need something to supplement your full-time income, especially if you're making good money somewhere else. So there's other ways. If you have to, take that excess money, if you could start saving it and start slowly building your real estate portfolio, as well as trading if you can, or if you could find another job that's reliable, that pays the same, but somehow you can have number 2 open. You can now have free time because you need that trading time. And I know your story. I know it's really hard for you to trade on your phone on a job site. It's nearly impossible. Somehow you still do it and you still profit, which is crazy good. But if you have to transition jobs for a while to kind of have that income, it's much harder when you start having dependents. So I wouldn't recommend like dropping it and I'm starting a side hustle. But that's one thing that would definitely be beneficial. But team, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. There's about 4 minutes left until this halt resumes. I'm going to jump back into the PC team trading chat, and I'm going to be trading KOSS and FAZE Yeah, gonna be trading it. Also, if you have more questions about that, maybe you and I should talk a little bit more off camera. I can maybe we can go further in depth. I just didn't want to make it too personal, because we're in a group setting of 20, 30 people. But man, oh man,